Nice. Now we're going to talk about wet slabs. This is something, dear to my heart here, unfortunately, the P&W. So wet slabs are most common, or there's kind of two that are equally most common. We're going to talk about each of them, but I'll often start, with my students being in the Pacific Northwest, start with our most common way, where we maybe get a bunch of light, fluffy snow, and then we get some rapid warming or the dreaded R word, rain. And so maybe we have a bunch of light, fluffy snow here on top, and all of a sudden, just in a hurry, it starts just sheeting rain, or this could just be rapid warming with sunshine. So this is just rapidly warming, making this upper snow more consolidated, more cohesive, heavier. Again, all those words work. That's how we're going to get our strong over weak for our wet slab. People are often like, well, how does that go away? And, even the hardest, like the worst case scenario wet slab with this type of formation, after like 3 to 5 days, that water is just going to percolate all the way down the snowpack. So even if it keeps raining, we don't just have an indefinite wet slab cycle. It'll just slowly turn to just a loose wet cycle, even if it keeps right on raining, because there's no more strong over weak in the snowpack. And so wet slabs, it's either they all freeze up and that's just going to be tied to the weather, or even in our worst case scenarios, after it's been warm and or raining for a while, once that whole snowpack is saturated, 3 to 5 days, 3 days to a week, those problems will generally go away. The one that different avalanche centers call different things, and I think that's worth pointing out. I don't generally go into this now, but it just seems, because this is a key difference of different avalanche centers, what do you call when you have a persistent weak layer deep in the snowpack, and then due to spring warming or the dreaded R word, and that water percolates down and triggers that layer of buried surface core or buried nerve surface facets? Some avalanche centers call that a wet slab because it's water triggering it, and some avalanche centers call it a persistent slab or a deep persistent slab because that's the grain that's failing. I think just being hip to your zone and being able to talk to that is really key. But that might be a wet slab in your local area.